Tigers. Go 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 Tigers.
Harrison Ford!
Also, her mit Harrison Ford.
Locked out. Even I can't get past the security.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, George. How's it going?
It's going all right.
There are no borders, there are no prime ministers, there are no presidents. There's only one nation, that's Kiss Nation. There's only one rock and roll national anthem. Rock and roll all night, party every day.
Wanna have you near me? I wanna have you hear me say it.
Oh.
Had a little bit of money, so the Lord did me good. Got all kind of shit. Got the glow sticks, I got the gotcha bag, got the Hawaiian punch. Man, everybody won't holler at pop what you need. I got it. If I ain't got it, I can find it, you understand? I'm selling glow sticks. Glow sticks that go with the yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I've been away for 7 months. Hard out filming the Book of Boba. Ooh, fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. There are no words.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What is going on, everybody? Hey, we've made it. We finished the Book of Bombad recap, but we're not quite done yet. We got to actually talk about this episode, and this was a great episode indeed. But before we do that, let's get some branding in. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. This is the Bombadcast. That's my grandfather right there. Real sweet guy. He's got some good stuff. And of course, you can see us every Thursday. Obviously, Bombadcast, me, Gerry, and Jarod always hanging out. Oh, literally always hanging out. And I can tell you this much. I think Jerry's on sabbatical, honey. But I know Hyperfocus will be coming back at some point in the near future. But you can always catch us Wednesday, Bombad Gaming. I actually was I did not feel so well. You can tell my nose is a little stuffy right now, but I did not stream last night because I was feeling sicky wicky and I'm a wussy wuss. And that's just it is what it is. You know, you just gotta kind of take that thing in. But yeah, you know, Bombadcast every Thursday, Bombad Gaming every Wednesday. We'll be coming back next week, maybe doing some Pokemon. I don't know. If you could figure this out for me, that would be great. Good. All righty, y'all. Let's bring in our first guest. This first person here is Troy. Okay. Now, Troy and I, we work with the same organization. He's a good friend of mine. We watched the finale and the beginning of this, I guess, Boba Fett mini series together. And it's been a treat. We've seen a lot of Star Wars stuff together. He's a good friend of mine. Let me get him brought in real quick. Let me play this video to bring him in. Hold on. Where is it at? We're going to only be playing this so much longer. Here we go.
Hey, mate, who invited you here?
Hey, mate, who invited you here?
People! How y'all
okay?
doing tonight?
You doing okay, T?
Oh, I'm always happy to see you, bud.
Awesome. Well, look, I got to bring this up real quick just so we can talk about it for 2 seconds.
All right.
Last time you were here, we talked about Rogue One. And
I mopped the floor with your nonsense hot takes.
Okay. Well,
one
would say that.
Me with a little help from across the pond.
Yep, it was Charlie.
We showed
Ashley,
you the error of your ways.
Mark Newbold, Jerry, and you. It was a nice little takedown, you know.
Yes.
And you know what's funny? I can count how many times you've been on the show, and I really appreciate you being here. Seriously. Yeah. But this next guest, I honestly couldn't tell you how many times he's been on our show, which is sickening. And he also lost to me in trivia, which he's apparently very good at. Let's bring him in. Let me get the video playing, and we'll bring in the wonderful Jarod the Dark Jedi.
Hey, mate, who invited you here?
Last time you here, you lost. Loser!
This is our last week of our punishment on Knights of the Nerd Republic.
It is.
And I can, after that, light my Bombadcast shirt on fire and call it a day. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm honored to be here. It's always a pleasure. I love making my stops on Bombadcast.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of Bombad in the bag. I'm like halfway through a very strong, very hot
big
Bloody
that glasses.
Mary.
Hold on, look at it. Pull that back up. Jesus Christ.
So actually, here's the thing. It's deceptively shaped. This is like a normal, 12-ounce glass.
Oh, show it again. How is it deceptively shaped? Oh, it's got the Jedi insignia. That's cool.
Well, the Jedi crest is on there, but it says it's really wide. But
size matters not.
Size matters not. Basically, it's like slightly bigger than like a normal 12-ounce glass.
Okay.
It looks huge. It looks huge.
Massive. Jesus.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Like it looks as what's up?
I'm not gonna let you get away with trash talking his trivia game. Do you know what happened the last time that you and I played Star Wars trivia together?
Oh, I do. We played what's it called? I have
Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit, but it was the DVD
Star Wars
version.
edition.
That's right.
It was the DVD version. So like the last question, and like for special questions you had to pop in a DVD. It was like super 2004. Like
it was incredible.
Or 2005 or 6, I guess, because it had Sith on there. But you had to pop it in, and it would give you special questions as like what scene was this, and it was for like certain questions, and all the other ones were cards. Do you remember what the last question was?
No, I really
Can we get some redemption for your friend here?
Oh, okay. Well, what was the last question then? You remember it that well?
Last question. Boy. I mean, I just know everything that is Star Wars. So
okay,
there's that.
Then what was it? What was the last question?
I'll play you next after I get my revenge on Scotty.
Who are the 2 characters on Phantom Menace who had never flown on a starship before the movie?
3PO and Anakin. Or Jar Jar and Anakin. Jar Jar
and
Anakin.
There it is.
Damn it. I would have got that now, but I didn't think about that at all. Oh, Jar Jar.
Redemption.
Dang. Well, not really, because Jarod lost his ass to me.
I'm gonna say that Jarod redeemed himself right here, right now.
Nope, not in front of these people.
Looking at the chat, thank you, Taylor, for telling everyone to stay Bombad.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. I don't want to say it. That's what I thought it was. Jared's
girlfriend. Nick, it tastes great. And also, so funny story. Spencer and I, Spiny, Spooter, Spanky, whatever the hell you want to call him, he and I, for the longest time, had a trivia rivalry because ever since we were in like grade school, he and I would play that very version of Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. And it took me forever to beat him because he kept getting lucky. And he even admitted it, where he would just have these like 30-minute long turns where he just kept getting these ridiculous layups. And then I would get shit like how many times is the word "the" uttered in Attack of the Clones? And I would just like every time at the halfway point of the game want to eat a bullet. But eventually, like I started beating Spencer, and like I overcame his lucky streaks.
Sure.
So whenever it came time for us to like do the Bombad v KNR thing, I was so excited because I was like, I finally get to team up with Spencer. Like we finally get to play on the same team.
Yep.
And then like my teammate didn't exactly carry his weight. And
you sure it wasn't you?
Listen, I botched that last question. If I got El Froner right, we would have won. Like we figured it out. Like that was how the math shook out. You guys missed your 3 and your 5.
That's right, we did.
And if I pulled the 5 as the person who actually has read The Rise of Kylo Ren.
That's right.
Like so I take ownership for our defeat. Like I hold it against myself, which is why I want to play you again.
Of course. And you will. It'll take some time. I want you to sit with it for 2 years.
Absolutely not. Not 2 years. I will come to your wedding with Trivial Pursuit in hand.
I'll help you corner him.
Thank you. I don't expect this to be made public anytime soon, but after Scotty was on Knights of the Nerd Republic last week, Eli from Star Wars in a Galaxy, who wrote the questions for and helped MC the KNR versus Bombad trivia thing. He made a promo for a potential rematch. Yeah, didn't you see it?
I don't think so.
Dude, check your Twitter DMs.
Can I play it
now?
Can I play it live on the show?
Do it right now.
I don't remember this. No way. Wait a minute. Are you for real?
Go in your Twitter DMs. I am straight no cap. It was one of the coolest things I've seen in my life.
It was Eli. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it's in a Twitter DM between you, me, and it's either Eli or the In a Galaxy Twitter.
Oh my god, I never watched this.
Oh my god, screen share it, bro. It's so good. It is unironically like great. He like straight up did a Schmodown promo for it.
Give me 1 second.
It was funny as hell.
Let's see. All right, here we go. Yo, this is badass. I didn't realize this. I guess I didn't really look into the DMs. Let's see. Here we go. Share audio and tab. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Can y'all see it?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Let me know if you can hear it. To have both of you just be so wonderful. Y'all can hear it? Okay, here we go. Yeah. Let's watch it. To have both of you just be so wonderful and nice to me is nice because I was such a jerk. And I'm still going to be a jerk after this. That's not stopping.
By the way, the answer is Elfrona.
No way.
Yeah.
Elfrona.
Son of a bitch. God. So like now I have this like imaginary rivalry with you in my fucking head where it's like I want J-Ro. I know. That's why I keep saying it's like it doesn't even need to be teams. I just want you. Like I just want you and me. Like
no way.
How many times did Finn say Chewbacca almost killed him on the Falcon?
The number is 6. It is 6 times.
very excited for that. Excited to school you in front of some of your students, Scott.
No way.
I want to just stay winner. I will not do a rematch until it's necessary. So make it necessary, morons, and we'll do it.
Oh.
And you think about, you know, the things you applied to content creating and the things that you maybe have held, have you hold to a high standard that people also love. And there's that one little dark spot in all of this. And you're like, man, I can't believe that I've gotten this far and just being a part of a bigger community. But there's this one little black spot in this beautiful Monet of a painting. And it's just the fact that I kicked your ass in trivia. Literally nothing makes me happier.
Oh man! Oh, we got Nick
know what?
wanting to host. Wow!
You know what I need? I need someone to Photoshop the old school Return of the old school poster where it says Revenge of the Jedi.
You mean
Yes.
the
It
one I
needs to
have
say
right here
Revenge of
next
the
to me in the
Jarod.
studio?
It
Oh,
needs to
let's
say
see.
Revenge of the Jarod.
Yes, look at that.
Yeah. Right there.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Revenge of the Jarod.
To a theater near you. Yeah, the only way you can watch it is if you buy an NFT and you can you go see it in the theater.
Yeah,
How sick would
this is
that
gonna
be?
be full scale pay-per-view.
That'd be incredible.
UFC
man.
can take a back seat one weekend.
Oh, just for this. Look at this. I'm telling you, another Troy in the show. Dude, imagine just it could be a whole thing. It should be a whole thing next time. Obviously, we had 20 viewers last time we did it, which was wild.
Are there more than 2
It was
Troys
so
that shows up on the show?
Troy Jarod, my cousin, who you've met before, I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
that would
Lord
be
of the
the other
Rings.
one. It's
That's
me.
the other one.
So, are there more than 2?
That Troy. No, I don't think so. Is there another Troy?
Well,
in space?
then he and I can be the undercard of that fight.
Oh,
And we can have a showdown of Troys.
That would be incredible. Bombad NFTs. Well, look, let's get to the subject matter. Obviously, I will rematch Jarod whenever he loses the sponsorship to the wonderful Bloody Mary mix that he will obviously plug right now.
SundaysBloodymary.com/shop. Use code TNAP at checkout where you get 10% off your order and you can help out your favorite nerds while doing it.
He's actually sponsored, Troy. Isn't that wild? He's actually sponsored by that actual.
You'll have to pry that
beautiful.
sponsorship from my cold dead fingers.
You think so?
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
That or if they decide they don't like my special brand of dick joke journalism.
Well,
one of the two.
Oh, look, we got a question real quick from Bill. This Troy.
I am drinking Glenlivet. Glenlivet 12 year.
Wow. Scotch. I'm drinking water.
Scotchy.
For those who
I'm
do
drinking
not-
water. Dude, battle for Troy. But Troy Jaro's down too. Wow. Well, look, we can't fixate on this anymore.
The Trojan War.
We've got to. That's it. We've got to almost said the F word. We've got to.
Scotty boy.
Talk Book of Bombad.
Kia ora, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Witter Morrison. Now, each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a kōrero. We have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special. Episode 3, Involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
You know what time it is. Let's talk about it. So, obviously, the season has come to a close, and what a great season it was. I really enjoyed it, but I want to kind of talk about one thing real quick. Bombadcast has been known to do this with most of our guests. Best, favorite, and most fun Star Wars in terms of movies and even shows. I want to talk, or even books or songs. Let's talk about best, favorite, most fun of this season. Let's obviously start off with most fun. I would say, personally, to me, the most fun episode of this whole season was the most recent one we got. That was just so much fun with the Rancor and Din and Boba back-to-back fighting, which we'll talk about in a second. But I really had a great time watching that one. Wasn't so much the stakes were high, more or less it was me just leaning on the edge of my seat. And Troy was there; he could vouch for it. We would cheer and get pumped up when things would happen.
It was beautiful.
But that was a fun one. What do you think of about yours, Jarod? What was the most fun one for you?
That's a great question. I've really enjoyed this season overall. You know, I've talked about this on Knights of the Nerd Republic a lot, where the current bend of Star Wars storytelling has really forced me out of my Jedi and Force user centric bias.
Good point.
You know, I talked about this ad nauseum that, you know, Din Djarin really is my favorite non-Force sensitive character. And it's gotten to the point with Din where he has even eclipsed some Force sensitives, and it's not that like I don't like any Force sensitive characters.
Sure.
And the same thing that I like anything Star Wars more than anything else because I like it on a different level because it's Star Wars. The Force sensitive characters, those people who can touch the Force, whose entire arc and conflict revolves around the Star Wars spirituality.
Yeah.
That I have a deeper appreciation for them, and Din has even begun to eclipse some of those characters. So that final moment at the end of episode 4, when credits combine muscle and the Mandalorian theme plays, then I'm mentally preparing for episode 5, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a Din cameo.
Yeah.
And then it's Din's episode.
Yeah.
And I just weird conversations that can be had about the structure of this show aside, I was just so exhilarated to see Din. I was just so happy. It hit me like a freight train how much I missed him as a character.
Isn't that weird? I thought that was weird too. I didn't think I'd have such a dopamine boost when he showed up on screen. Like I was pumped to see him, and it had only been a year since we've seen him last. Or like 13 months, really. Like it didn't feel like that long, and it was so nice to hear his voice, see his movement, and it's just weird.
Exactly,
faceless character that we can connect with. It's wild. So was that your most fun?
I think my most fun moment was the scene where Dan threw down with the Klatooinian, and we first saw him use the Darksaber in combat.
Yes.
It's a testament to the fact of to why a lightsaber in general is almost exclusively used by Force sensitives.
Yeah.
That there's a level of attunement with the Kyber crystal, a level of like the same reason why Jedi can deflect blaster bolts. It's that precognition, it's that free flow, it's that, I'm feeling the thing and I'm going with it, that allows someone who can touch the Force, even someone who's a novice, to wield a lightsaber with competence.
Yeah.
So Din didn't have the attunement with the blade that a Jedi or even a Sith would have. And he also didn't have the sensibility of trying to use it in a clean manner. He's just hacking dudes apart that whole fight. It's a brutality that we've only really seen from Kylo Ren. Is the only other person we've seen use a lightsaber to that kind of brutal effectiveness, where it's hack and slash. You have Kylo stabbing people in the throat with his crossguard in The Last Jedi. Where Din is that Klatooinian he came to collect a bounty on. He wounds him, he cleaves him in half, and then he takes his head.
It's wild.
It's just it's so vicious and it's so
metal.
Cool. I think that was my favorite moment, but because Din Djarin is my favorite non-Force sensitive Star Wars character.
Yeah, I get that. That's beautiful. Very well said. Troy, what did you think, bud?
What you're asking for? Most fun?
Most fun.
I'm gonna go with the finale. Was the most fun.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think, and I mean, we're gonna get into the things I like about the finale, obviously, with the show. So I don't want to say too much in regard to that, but I think in terms the category of the most fun, it has the most moments. I think the thing about this episode is that cohesively start to finish, particularly when you look at it as a finale, it's I don't think it's unfair to say that it's lacking, but when you talk about things that are in it that are just god damn, that was fun.
Yeah.
The jetpack sequence and Din and Boba back to back, and the Rancor riding, that stuff was just fun.
Never thought we'd see that in Star Wars.
Godzilla Rancor and then King Kong Rancor were both just so fun.
Yeah. I get it, dude. That's why I like that episode the most, because and then we had the scorpion droids, whatever they called them, and they were just do droid, massive droidicos.
In the subtitles when I rewatched it, they call them scorpion. I wrote it down. I I can't remember, but they don't call it Scorpion. The subtitle calls it another thing.
Okay. I'm sure there's a technical name for it too. I know Doug Chang had used it in Attack of the Clones, or like had did a drawing for it originally, and I love that they just took it and they put it in this show. I mean, that always recycled.
I know Pelimoto addresses them by name in the episode. I can't remember it either, but Peli does call them out.
Scorpinek. When Peli, like when she says, leave your tender moment. We've got a Scorpinek right behind us. Scorpinek is the way, like SCORPENEK is what the subtitles say. I don't know how canon Disney Plus's subtitles are.
Yeah, or how canon Pelimoto is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, she is
technically canon.
Yeah. Why should we not trust her? She totally filed her New Republic license right as the officer was arriving.
How amazing was that? That was incredible. I want to talk about that later because she is honestly the best humor we've had in Star Wars in years. But yeah, so
I mean, it's Amy friggin' Sedaris.
She's incredible. In terms of so we did most fun. I want to do favorite real quick. I think favorite should not be a surprise to most people. It was the chapter 6 that was my most favorite with Luke and Grogu. That was just like that just spoke to me as a teacher on so many levels. I don't think it's the best, but I definitely think it's my favorite after rewatching, a lot of this stuff. But Jerry, what was you said your favorite was Din? Was that chapter 5, right?
That was my favorite moment, like individual moment. Again, because of like a Din Djarin bias. I shouldn't have eaten like 4 peppers right before you asked me that question. This is gonna be fun.
The garnish matters.
There's a really spicy pickle in here from a jar my uncle got me for Christmas. I can't eat those things.
I want to do a podcast with Jarod where we just talk about spicy garnishes and drinks.
I could never go on hot ones. I am a bitch.
Yeah,
I love hot food. I love hot food. I need to have like a whole gallon of buttermilk next to me to just every bite.
The bomb, but it was vile. I've had the bomb and it was vile.
Yeah, no.
But I survived. But the thing that makes me go, I don't think I actually could is I've never then like had 8 other hot sauces before it.
Oh,
so I don't know. But anyway,
I've messed around with the last dab and it is not merciful. No, I think my favorite was I really love seeing the Din and Boba back to back. I love seeing that team up.
Yeah.
There's that like work bitch going on where he's like shooting the knee darts and his
dude, that
pistol
was
at the same time.
Incredible.
Someone who's a better editor than me put that to like the RuPaul music, work fashion. Yeah. Anyway, no, seeing them team up, like just it's so cathartic. It's Din coming from his background of trying to find himself. Like both Din and Boba are on this journey of self-discovery. And seeing them both be like, no, like we're gonna risk our lives for these people, and Din going like, I told you I was here to help.
Yeah.
Like when I say ride or die, I mean ride or die.
Yeah,
let's
this is the way.
go. And Boba Fett coming full circle from being, blaster for hire to questioning himself as a daimyo of Mos Espa, up to him going like, yeah, I'm here. I will die for Mos Espa. I am here to protect my people.
Yeah.
What's up? Like just seeing those two, it was incredible. Again, The Mandalorian season 2 made me give a damn about Boba Fett. I have graduated from giving a damn to loving.
Isn't that crazy?
And I never gave a damn about Boba Fett.
No, look at this shirt. This is, by the way, one of the coolest shirts I've received.
Oh yeah, Roosevelt's also. Please sponsor me.
Look at that. Oh my god, great shirt. But yeah, I agree, dude. I was in the same boat, and then I got this literally the day before season 2 of Mando dropped for $18. I'm like, let me just go meet this Facebook Market person place. And then literally season 2 dropped of Mando, and it was like, oh, I made an investment. Literally, I was like, wow, like this actually became much more valuable. And then now with this whole show coming out, I mean, I could say the same exact thing. That is a special moment to see happen where you have these people that never really mess with Boba Fett, now love the character. I'm the same way. I didn't think I'd like him as much as I do now. So pretty awesome. What do you think, Troy? Look at that face. What the hell is that face?
I don't like him as much.
You don't like him as much before? You
like
him less?
I like him less after this show, and I don't think that that's a criticism of the show.
No,
actually, fundamentally, that is a criticism of the show. If you like the protagonist less when it's over, maybe I don't like him less. I am just I had excitement to see where the character went, and I am now indifferent.
Okay, it's honest.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I? Because I think that they failed to develop his character well.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
And that's a different and that's also a very difficult thing to do with a character like Boba Fett, who was just built up into everyone's minds. But yeah, we'll get to that. We got to get out of this segment first, don't we?
Yeah, we can. So wait, I want to see the last one. The best episode. And now, obviously, this is all opinions and how we feel about it. And I think we all have our valid reasons what we thought was the best. My episode I thought was the absolute best. The one that made me fall in love with the character, and the one that I think was just shot the best, looked the best, was Chapter 2 by Steph Green. That one literally was unbelievable with the Tusken Raider lore, on top of being able to get, him be kind of a silly character for a minute, and the humor wasn't too crazy. You get some flash forward, some flashbacks. I just love how crazy realistic that episode felt, where he was welcomed into their tribe. He builds a gaffy stick. Like, they gave us a side of Star Wars I don't think we've ever seen before. So that was my best. I will probably rewatch that one for a very long time and not get bored with it, or not feel any, I guess, disdain for it. But I think it's just the best, the absolute best. Yeah, anyone have any thoughts on that or no? I don't know what y'all think your best are, obviously. That's why we're doing this. But I mean, does anyone agree with me or no? Because that episode was incredible to me.
I think that's the best episode of Boba Fett. I think if you're asking what the best episode that we got, it's the Return of the Mandalorian. But I mean, is that really an episode of Boba Fett?
That's
but
true.
I think
Yes.
the Return of the Mandalorian is the best of these 7. I think from start to finish, from a narrative standpoint, from just the story that you built, what you did with a character that you were following. Yeah, it wasn't Boba Fett, but what you did with what you were trying to accomplish there, narrative-wise, I think is absolutely the best start to finish episode that we got. Bryce Dallas Howard absolutely killed it.
Okay, I can see that. Jarod?
I do think the structure of this show can absolutely be scrutinized. That said, I do think chapters 5 and 6 absolutely have their place in this narrative. Because at their core, they, like the rest of the season, have been about metamorphosis and have been about finding oneself via community. And I don't have an issue with those episodes existing. I think they would have an easier time fitting into the narrative. Pardon me. If perhaps this show had maybe an episode or 2 more to it. And maybe we got a little bit more time where the penultimate episode and the next to last episode didn't almost entirely omit Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That if we had more time, again, it works better. I don't think it doesn't work. I think it just works better if you add an episode or 2 to spend with the we're going to war, we're preparing for war.
I see what you're saying.
More time to see what the Pikes are up to. More time with Cad Bane. Maybe dedicate an episode 2 a flashback with Boba Fett. A whole episode of Boba Fett during the Clone War. Bring in Daniel Logan. Why not?
Yeah.
Have Daniel Logan training under Cad Bane and stuff, or give it 1 episode extra.
Yeah.
I think changes everything. I think that does this show the biggest service anything could do. I don't dislike the decision they made for the episode that is solely about Din, and then the follow-up episode that is mostly Din, a lot of Grogu, and then Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
You know, I like that a lot. And I think that, you know, in this like hypothetical extra episode between From the Desert Comes a Stranger and In the Name of Honor, also the episode titles bitchin'.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I am congested and like fighting through mouth heat, so I apologize. I'm dealing with a lot, and I'm going to the bathroom. I have to pee after I'm done speaking. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm the consummate professional. But that episode, like you can have time to be like to have. And the people of Freetown, or like specifically the Weequay bartender, be like, "Oh my god, like we stabilized Cobb, but he's not doing well."
Yeah,
and like you can spend time on like, okay, like Cobb Vanth is dying. He's not dead, but like he was mortally wounded. And then that gives the post-credit scene with Thundercat, or as I like to call him by his Star Wars name, Tundura Cat. Well, you pay me anytime, Disney. You have more time to
like a Star Wars name though.
No, you go TUN dash U with like an umlaut.
Is there an apostrophe?
Space K apostrophize A TT.
Cut.
Is there an apostrophe between the T and the first U?
Go for it.
I also love that you're introducing the umlaut to Star Wars.
Why not? Let's umlauts. It's umlaut season in Star Wars. So yeah, I think you add an episode, and I think it smooths all this.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have not had a whole lot of complaints. Yeah. No, I think that's the way to go. But yeah, I liked the last episode. I liked everything we got. Taylor, who's in the chat, can vouch for this. Just hearing Ahsoka say to Luke, "You're so much like your father." It reduced me to tears. And like I said on Knights of the Nerd Republic, the moment I see Anakin Skywalker again, I am going to need to be medicated. I am not going to handle it well.
Nope.
And I think this season does a lot of things really well. I think that this is a testament to how you do Star Wars nostalgia right.
Yeah, I can see that.
It serves the story. You know, you have like, remember Luke? Remember Ahsoka? But it serves the story. It matters to what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I think Luke Skywalker is too detached from Mando to Din.
Yeah.
I think Luke Skywalker at this point in his life is Jedi Superman. Like he's kind of too far away for most people to relate to him. But someone like Ahsoka can absolutely level with Din.
Yeah, of course.
And like everything that happened in those 2 episodes that maybe didn't have Boba Fett in them, but they absolutely were in simpatico with the themes and motifs of the series as a whole.
Yeah. I want to hear y'all debate that, but I'm going to let you use the restroom real quick, Jarod.
Be right back.
So yeah, I don't know. This show to me personally, it did speak on a couple of levels, and of course, this whole episode, you know, really did as well. The name in the Name of Honor for the title was just a brilliant idea, and I didn't like seeing.
Oh, that was amazing. The names have absolutely killed it.
Oh, amazing! They're perfect. But I did not like knowing that Garson Thwip is dead. Did not like that at all. It bums me out because she was so pretty. And I like
that's my you know, the Who song Pictures of Lily, where he finds out she's been dead since 1929.
Yes.
That's exactly what that is.
That's amazing. Oh,
you watch it, and you're like, she's amazing, and then she's dead. And it's like, oh no. No more.
She was so pretty, man. I like looking at her. I'm not gonna lie. She was beautiful, and I really enjoyed about the And Williams said I'm concerned about Max Rebo. I don't blame. I don't
He's
blame
not.
him. I don't think he was
He's.
there.
They deliberately showed the entire bar, and
And
he's
not
not
him.
playing.
He doesn't explode again for a second time. Thankfully, that'd be hard to watch. You see him watch
But like, if he did,
die twice. Oh yeah. Oh, that's Troy. Mother Troy. That's the hottest Twilight in Star Wars, hands down. Who is the other? Darth
Talon.
Talon. Yeah,
From
Darth
the
Talon,
EU.
But Talon were revealing clothing, so you like couldn't help but look.
Yeah, and it's all like fan depictions because it's the
Yes.
EU, so it's
Yes.
extra ridiculous.
The man, Garza Flip was whoop. Go Tigers! Ain't that right?
8 days till LSU baseball, Scotty.
I saw that in your calendar, you weirdo. Look at
Dude,
this.
yeah, I have a line through the quiz and the things I actually have to do. I Bombad at 8.
I know, I saw that.
See?
Bombad at 8.
There you go. So there you go. And then I have some essays still to grade. That's not lined through. But
no, not at all. Of course
but
not.
yeah,
You want to do a
I got
Star
a little
Wars show.
countdown going. Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah, I can tell you this much. This show, changed my mind on a couple of things, but Pretty Twi'leks was definitely one of them. That was one of the ones that was like, oh wow. What you think of that?
What about Ayla Sakura? She never did it for you?
No, not really.
All right.
I don't know why, but I think
we're gonna. I feel like we should halt this here before we go.
No.
territory.
I like an older woman. I like one that can tell you what's going on, like she did. She's like, "Oh, Boba, want a seat at the bar?" I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm about it."
I'm
With
gonna,
that being
drink
said,
and not comment.
Yeah, don't say anything. You don't want to get in trouble with your students. So obviously,
Mine
this
will
whole
never see
episode-
this. Yours will.
Why won't they ever see this? They could literally search your name up and this will show up on YouTube. Do they realize
they
that?
won't.
Why don't they
They don't
care
think-
about you?
They do care a lot about me, and they know nothing about my life.
Well, mine's the exact opposite.
They know.
I got
know
one
that
right
I like
here.
to spend time alone in the woods, and they think that that's the only thing I do.
Let's bring Jarod back into this. So, Jarod, before when you left, we were talking about Garza Flip and how hot she was. But
Oh, I
we
know.
can
I
move
was
on.
listening on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love how Scotty's like, "Hey, Jared, tell us what you think about this very attractive alien with your girlfriend in chat." No,
Under the
I
box.
have always found the really weird. I've always thought it was really weird the way a lot of Star Wars fans like fetishize Twi'leks.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, there's a really weird, like, legitimate, like, niche kink that some Star Wars fans have with Twi'leks. And it's always kept me from enjoying Twi'lek characters.
If you
Like,
if you
as
acknowledge-
characters, not even
if
like,
you
oh, they're
acknowledge them,
hot.
It gives them power.
Now, Garsha Thwit. She is a she's a fine looking lady, and it is a shame she was atomized by the Pike Syndicate.
The choice of words. Oh man.
That said, real quick though, has this come up at all? The like potential that there was a trans Twi'lek in the show.
No.
Have you heard about this theory?
No. What is this theory?
So, said Taylor in the chat, made me laugh. I told her last night, I'm like, listen, man, I don't want to make it weird. The Paul McCarthy Twip is hot as hell. So the
That's
green guy Twi'lek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
would you like
to
your
go
helmet
back-
cleaned?
What was that?
Would you like your helmet serviced?
Yes. Yes. So first of all, Levi, no longer with the Nerd Academy because he just didn't have time to do this stuff anymore, made a joke once that there was no such thing as an attractive male Twi'lek, and that every
Ooh.
guy Twi'lek is like disgusting looking, and they're either
Okay.
like crusty,
That's true.
or like
Or
their
fat.
face just looks like a catcher's mitt.
Yes.
This guy broke the mold. He was hot as hell.
Yeah, he's beautiful. The green one.
The green one, most female Twi'leks have like the weird cones as ears.
Yeah.
And then all the male Twi'leks we've seen have actual ears.
Oh.
This male Twi'lek has cones. And because LGBTQIA representation in Star Wars is awful, a lot of people went, oh, this male Twi'lek has cones.
Interesting.
Perhaps this male Twi'lek was assigned female at birth. So
wow. That's pretty deep. That's really looking into it.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. Again, because like the only queer people in Star Wars exist 100 years before the goddamn movies.
That's
so,
true.
Like High Republic is the only bone we get thrown.
That's true.
So I'll take it. But so I just, while we were talking about Garsheth Whip and Hot Twi'leks, I figured I'd bring that little theory up that perhaps that is our first canonical trans Star Wars character. We've had non-binary characters, but this may be our first trans character.
That is interesting. That's some good like researching there. And I had not thought about
I can't take any credit for that. I don't want to act like I'm the first person who went, he has cones,
We thought that you were making representation. You were breaking representation news, Jarod.
That
Come
was
on
it.
Now.
History and this moment.
And then that would have been huge for the Bombadcast.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I can't take ownership of that, but just something cool to think about.
Then it's still cool to speculate on.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So
it doesn't hurt that male Twi'lek is also fine.
He was handsome. He was cut. That was a pretty looking guy too. I'll say that.
Built like a brick poodoo house. He was.
Poodoo house. Oh man, look who we brought in the chat. Some nice bots. Some nice spam bots. Vorp, Rid. So let me bring this
Cortex
up.
Zero.
Yeah, I'm bringing him out. Bringing him out. Block user. Don't need none of that. That happened one time before and it did not end well. So obviously,
where's Nightbot?
Yeah, where is Night? I've retired Nightbot. Everyone likes Nightbot, but it seems that
I like Nightbot.
Yeah, I know, and I don't
Nightbot's
blame.
He's like our droid.
Yeah, he was special.
He's our god.
Scotty, I won't get you in trouble for saying that I have a really nice buzz going right now, would I?
No, not at all. Keep it going.
Either of you, I won't end either of your teaching careers. Okay, good.
Not at all.
As we established, no one knows who I am.
No, it's a beautiful. Just the title alone doesn't give it away. And this thumb I made is some guy that was the roadie for the Beatles. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice that at all?
Eric made a Facebook post about it. But no, I didn't know that. I didn't notice that you put him in the thumb. No, that's
great. Instead of you, I put him. So to kind of bullet point some of this stuff, obviously the show notes are extensive because I like writing long things, but there's some things I wanted to kind of go through. The X-Wing fake out was incredible. That was a very well done fake out. I'm sitting there like, no, he's gonna show up. Him and Boba are gonna get into it. I'm like, that's how you make the finale like insane. But that's not what we got. And I'm actually kind of thankful that's not what we got. That would have taken away from a lot of stuff. But
we talked about that on Nights, and I'm going to shut up here in a minute because I've been talking for a lot. But we talked about that on KNR when you were on last week, Scott.
Yes.
Like how badly nobody wants Deus Luke Machina a second time.
No.
And how horrible that would have been. Granted, while I was watching the episode, part of me was like, oh man, they have their backs against the wall. Maybe a Jedi wouldn't hurt right now. But, by the same token, we got Boba going hey, Criff, all of you guys, I got my pet Rancor. I'm about to kick your ass. Which way better in hindsight. But Luke showing up in the end of Mando worked perfectly. It had all of the trapping. It was perfectly set up. Luke showing up to drop off Grogu and going, man, there's a whole ass war going on. Maybe I should get involved. Would have just killed the momentum
I think so.
Of the story.
Would have been sick.
Now, granted, there's a part of me that would have gone, okay, Cad Bane got to throw down with both Luke and Anakin. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
If at any point someone name drops Luke's last name, for Cad to go, hold on a second. Like, I shot your
Cad
daddy.
Bane become
Like,
a little bit southern.
I can't do the Cad Bane voice, so he just kind of sounds.
He's
Yeah.
very like this. I love that
Okay,
shit.
very minor nitpick. I don't care about how Cad Bane looks. I
Really?
like
Neither
live
do I.
action Cad Bane.
I do too.
Oh, I think he's great.
He doesn't have that weird voice modulation in live action. That's
Well,
my only gripe.
he's older. He is over 20 years, 25. He's over 25 years older.
He's in his
So, I mean,
70s here, yeah.
Yeah, he's old as shit.
I just always thought those weird like oxygen tubes he gave himself
Yeah.
were why he had almost like a voice modulator.
Yeah.
And sounded kind of robotic in like the Clone
Yeah.
Wars. And like going back and like listening to Clone Wars clips versus here, he doesn't have that like robotic sound to his voice. And again, super happy with what we got. That is my only complaint, is that his voice did not sound slightly mechanical.
Well, T-Pain came
but
in
that
when he
is
died.
such a deep nitpick.
That is a deep. That was pretty good. Did you notice that when he died, Jarod? That when he died, he was like, it sounded like
It was just straight up auto-tune noise. It was great.
Very weird.
It's like that clip of Travis Scott falling off a stage in auto-tune. Are either of you familiar with this?
I know what you're talking about. It's incredible. Let me see
Troy,
it
you know what I'm
pull it up.
talking about? Where he's like, ah!
I've seen it.
That's amazing.
I didn't hear it, but granted, Taylor and I were like, yeah, when he
Yeah,
killed
I
him with the
agree.
Gaddafi. So, like,
Oh
I
my
definitely
God.
didn't hear any
Killed.
sounds. He's dead. I hope he's not alive
This
anymore.
joke
I
is
would be
beeping,
really
and
disappointed.
he and Thrawn are going to form the Blue Man Group. They need one more blue guy, and then they're going to be the evil Star Wars Blue Man Group.
It'll be a Pantoran. We'll just get George Lucas's Pantoran character, and that's it. Could you imagine the Blue
No,
Man?
they're going to get
Palpanoida.
Max.
Okay, wait. Here we go. Listen. This is the auto-tune noise. I've got the scene pulled up. I just want to put it on the screen so it won't get flagged. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it pulled up right here.
I knew you were a killer.
Right here.
Oh.
He's like, oh.
Someone please
Like an
edit
auto-tune
that to have the
quagmire.
sound of Travis Scott falling in auto-tune. Like, just like, ah!
It's literally what it sounded like. Yeah, I don't know. Williams says he's not dead. I tend to believe he's not dead either. Though I would like him to be, because it's a fitting ending for that character. But I actually want to pull up what exactly he said. I love what he said to him. He said, "There's no shame in it. Consider this as my final lesson. Look out for yourself. Anything else is weakness. I knew you were a killer." And then, boom, in the chest. I was like, well, he kind of did. He kind of did complete, Cad Bane's sentence there with all that.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
the only
like-
time Boba Fett does anything.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, here's
shut
you're
up.
wrong. Dookie take.
It's only a half
respectfully,
take.
sir.
It's only half of a
Respectful.
take.
Well, here's what I like. I really like the idea that Boba, his journey, his growth is not done here.
Yeah.
There's no
In the
growth.
same way that we talk about like rehabilitated Darksiders,
Yeah.
choosing the light, choosing to do better is not a one-time decision. You have to continue to do that. And while Boba has shaken loose the same cynical mindset Cad Bane has that he had as a bounty hunter, I think Boba is still dealing with his existing trauma through acts of profound violence.
Yeah.
Like look back at at the tragedy in season
Yep.
2 of Mando, where I think Boba had a moment where this was his first time to like fight the Empire. And that post, as we have put it on Knights of the Nerd Republic, post him finding Jesus in the Sarlacc pit,
Sure, of course.
He's having this moment of catharsis where he is clearly deeply regretful of his time working for Darth Vader. So when he has his armor back and he's brutalizing these stormtroopers, it's kind of like a form of self-loathing, and him working through his regret and his shame for being a servant of the Empire. And I think he's yet to quite realize that his killer's instinct, his propensity towards violence, is part of the problem.
Yeah.
And while Boba has chosen nobility, has chosen mercy, has chosen to do the right thing multiple times throughout this show, like the way that he completely spares Black Chrysanthemum. He doesn't send him back to the gladiators. He doesn't execute him. He's like, hey, for reference, next time, don't be a douchebag. Get out of here.
Gamorrean guards, too. Another good example.
Exactly.
And Finnick.
Boba, sometimes fate steps in for the wretched.
Yeah.
He's aware of the fact that he is on borrowed time, and I think he's trying to do better. But the trauma he lives with keeps manifesting itself in his propensity for violence. So while, yes, I think it's very easy to argue that Cad Bane deserves to die.
Sure.
Cad Bane is a bastard and is irredeemable. Like, Cad Bane is at the point where he has not been forced into this world. He's choosing to do this. He enjoys doing what he does. Cad Bane deserved what he had coming. But it's on Boba to learn when and where, like, the crazy eyes violence is necessary. Like, this is the same way we see Boba beating the piss out of all of those stormtroopers in tragedy. It's that same crazed look, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, you son of a bitch. You know, like almost like you made the reference earlier with the Jerry's on sabbatical, honey, where it's like almost that like Green Goblin level of like sadistic glee.
Yep.
You know, where like he's still working through that. Again, in comparison, I've been making on Knights of the Nerd Republic. Boba Fett's journey here, I think you could compare to what must have been going on for Jules Winfield after the credits rolled for Pulp Fiction.
Oh, good point. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. That moment of awakening, whenever he's like, I have a moment of clarity.
Shit was a miracle.
Exactly. That's who I've been comparing Boba to since The Mandalorian. This is what Jules' journey looked like after Pulp Fiction.
Interesting. Wow. I like that.
Boba's trying real hard to be the shepherd.
Yep. Tried real hard. There it is. Look at Jarod.
It's not a wallet, but the coaster says the same thing.
I didn't know you're a big Pulp Fiction guy. I didn't realize that. That makes sense.
I love Tarantino. Tarantino is not without his very valid criticisms.
Yes.
But I still love me some Pulp Fictions. But yeah, no, so that's kind of how I see Boba Fett. And I love his moment with Cad Bane because it's him like, he's not perfect yet. He hasn't fully changed yet, but the bones are there for him to be a better man.
Yep. I think Troy has an opposing view. Troy, what is your feelings on this? Because you had told me earlier that you really don't see him being that different.
So I think the difficult thing, and I told you this going into the show, is that I think that the very difficult thing about a Boba Fett show entirely, in a lot of ways, this show has been what we thought we were getting with The Mandalorian.
That's true. That is indeed true.
And then Grogu came in at the end of episode 1, and we said, "Oh, this show is different now, and Star Wars is different now." And that became a character in his own right that is very different than what we all kind of thought. Oh, they're just doing Boba Fett with this other guy's name, then I don't know why. And it's very, very difficult to do Boba Fett because we have all built Boba Fett up to be a very particular, well, not necessarily every individual has built a particular kind of character in their mind because he's that Master Chief kind of character, right? He's just the silent badass.
Oh, like that's such a good way to put it. Oh, that is so poignant.
And we've just projected everything that we think is a badass onto him and the kind of person that is because he doesn't have a character. The only line that you can really, that's one of the only lines he says, period, is in Empire. He says, what if he dies? He's no good to me dead. Talking about Han and the carbon changer. And that is, you can draw a lot from that if you want to really just pull everything that you want to pull out there. Like, I'm reducing him to money. This is my life. I'm just standing by Darth Vader. And you know what? I got to team up with him. And like, he's just money. And then then Jedi, he doesn't have a line, period. He's just standing around being a silent badass. Not that he's talking in an Empire.
To steal something that Sean from Blue Bantha Milk Co. said, whenever he came on my show to do the Mando season 2 review, Boba Fett is in terms of Return of the Jedi, he's the guy, the original trilogy, he's the guy who's working for both the Hutt cartel and the Empire at the same time.
Yep.
Who's willing to shoot Luke Skywalker in the back.
Yeah. Different character entirely by the time we see him now.
Right.
Sorry to cut you off, Troy.
You're fine. And that's fair. Like shooting the bat, like they're all very, very little things that we're extrapolating this character from. And you have to then take this show, and you started it with the tragedy, where he goes out pilot. And he just beats. Yeah, that. In a lot of ways, the two really aren't different shows. That this was really just season 2.5 of The Mandalorian, and that the tragedy was a pilot for season 2.5. In a lot of ways, you had to then decide, where does this character go? And I think that, and you had to make people happy with it, because he is, like we said, even though he has virtually no screen time. And no dialogue, because because of everything about him, he is this badass that we've all built him up into our minds, and he's everyone, when you're playing Star Wars, kids wanted to be Boba Fett, so you have to deliver on that. You have to deliver on that, on the badass factor, but also still give that a story. And so where do you go there? And so you have what I think was a genius thing, where you make it very much about his armor, because where do you can draw on Django, because that's from George, right? That's George's story. You've given him something, right? And you learn that Django was indeed a Mandalorian, despite that like little bit of dialogue in the Clone Wars where Obi-Wan says, I knew a bounty hunter named Django Fett, and the Prime Minister who ends up betraying Sabine is like, oh no, we don't claim him, he's treacherous. And then you find out, we get this little bit of dialogue, it was a civil war. We're caught up in all of this, right? And so I think that then you have it makes sense, because he can be caught up in the identity of what it means to be a Mandalorian. And then you have and so there you can have an arc that goes, I was a bounty hunter because of everything that we saw in the Clone Wars of like who my father was, but then the search for the armor can then be a search for like identity, and you can find identity with the Mandalorians and everything. But then you have this cut right back to being the daimyo, which I love that name, by the way. That's
that's a great name. That's a great
the world building that Krabs and Filoni have done. We could talk 8 shows just about that. But to get back to my point, you have him sort of backslide. And he says, no, this is what I want because I sat underneath this guy. And you take a complete left turn from what could have been a character arc that I think made sense. And then you have, like, I don't know, is the Sarlacc pit a come to the Jesus moment for Boba Fett? I think it's really hard to say. I think it's really hard to say that it is. Whereas and then you can build, and then you have the Sand People and this idea of honor and respect, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. And then you have this relationship with Fennec where it's just this perpetual, hey, I want to do this way. That's not smart to do that this way. I want to do this way. It's not smart to do this way. But it never froths and it never comes to a head. And it just there's just tension that has build and no climax. And there's just so many things that I find weren't delivered on. And I think that the problem with that is that we all built a different version of him into our head. And now you have to kind of ride that line but it means that you can't necessarily go in any one direction. He can't be a truly redeemable character because he's a villain, but he can't be evil either because he's still your protagonist. You're in you're boxed into a really tight corner, and it's very, very difficult to make that make sense.
Interesting.
I find that just I love the show. It's been great. It's been entertaining. I love. I don't mean to be the guy that's like Star Wars is bad. I don't. I think it's the trouble with the nature of Boba Fett. I'm still glad that they're doing it. I'm not saying don't do it. I think it's great, and I'm happy with what we're getting. But I think it's really difficult, and a lot of the stuff that they did with his character specifically didn't move. You spend 3 episodes trying to define why he is all into respect and everything now, when I think that you had already done that with the whole Mandalorian armor thing. And the Tusken Raider stuff was still great, but then it's, this I want to rule with fear and respect, and you have all of that blow up in his face, and he just doesn't even blink. He just keeps going, and then Cad Bane is there.
My only take that I can add to this is the idea of, like, if anything, he found out that he can have friends like this. Andy said, "This is great." Andy, thank you for dropping by. We got 4 episodes with Boba's new friends, and half those episodes were spent in the past. The thing is, this is the first time we see Boba Fett do anything with anyone else. The comics have had him with other bounty hunters, but, like, you wouldn't call them friends or even people that would help him, quote unquote. To see him with, Tusken Raiders, which was incredible. To see him with Finnick and that relationship develop. To see him even with the mods and that relationship develop. I think.
Is there ever a point where you really feel, other than when he says good, when he asks him, "Do you really believe in all that Bantha Father?" and he says, "This is the way," and he says, "Good." Is there ever even really a point where you really see that he gets, oh, people are in this for me? Because that still doesn't even pay off.
I think it happens
for him as a character.
When everyone saves his ass at the front of the sanctuary, him and Din are at the absolute lowest of lows, are getting shot at 20 different ways, and then Freetown balls in. Then the mods come in. Then Chrysanthemum comes in. I think that's that moment where you realize, okay, this character has built up a family. Found family is a theme in this show.
That's
for that
Din's
reason.
family. That's Din's family.
No, it's not.
No.
Freetown is only there because Din went out there.
Well, it's true, but
promised them that this is the only way to get the spice out.
If I may, real quick.
Okay.
I think.
Please do.
First of all, I think that Boba, we're seeing an exploration of the Boba Fett we see in The Mandalorian, whom is post Sarlacc pit come to Jesus. And granted, I started using that verbiage back during season 2 of The Mandalorian, before we knew about him and his surrogate Tusken Raider family.
Yeah.
It's less that he had a come to Jesus in the Sarlacc pit, and slightly more he found a new spirituality. Come to Jesus in the Sarlacc pit's a funnier and easy way to put it. To just put all of that in a bow.
Don't get me wrong.
And I'm never going to stop using that verbiage. But, the people of Freetown came, yes, because Din is a voice worth listening to them, but they realized we all, very Phantom Menace, you live in symbiosis, all... What happens to the surface will affect with the
There's
Gunga.
a line. I wrote it down. It was word for word. This planet deserves better, and that's the reason why they're doing this.
And I love that narrative in general.
Yeah,
I do too. Listen. This whole show is on some comrade shit, and it's right up my alley. So the fact that, yes, Din Djarin had to reach out to them because they don't know Fennec, they don't know Boba, they don't know they don't know the Gamorreans.
Yep.
They don't know Black Chrysanthemum, they don't know the mods. Sure, Din Djarin had to reach out to Freetown.
Yeah.
But Freetown recognized it doesn't matter who the hell this Boba Fett guy is. The Pikes are about to exploit this entire planet on an even more malignant level than even the Hutt cartel was willing to do.
That's true.
So it was everything to do with that spirit of we need to protect and help each other. Din was the perfect voice to bring them into the fight. But at the end of the day, Din was only the person who let them know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like across the Dune Sea. So I think the people of Freetown just knowing what was going on was enough for them to get into the fight. Then add to that Cobb Vanth getting gunned down in cold blood by Cad Bane.
Yeah.
And again, like Boba Fett was the guy who, again, was working for both the Hutt Cartel and the Galactic Empire. And I think that, Cad Bane, I think it's a very deliberate choice. The very brief exchange Cad Bane has with Cobb Vanth. The Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire.
Yeah.
That was so good too.
It's a fantastic line delivery.
I think that their showdown from like the moment the wind chimes go off to the end is the best part of this show.
Really? So this them two in general, excluding all the
well, Luke and Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, that's next level.
But it's so Western and it's.
I can't even include the Luke and Ahsoka stuff because that's Jedi shit, and I can't compare it to anything else because that's my Jedi stuff.
Excluding Luke and Ahsoka's dialogue with each other, I think it's the best part of the show because it was so good.
No answers either. That was
I'm a sucker for a Western though, so that's my personal bias showing as well.
Yeah,
that's very fair. I think that whole moment where Cad Bane is talking about the Boba Fett that everybody knows because they haven't met the new Boba is very important.
That is true.
Because again, he's like, yeah, Boba Fett did do those things. And I think that Boba winding up in the Sarlacc pit, and again, like, let's go all the way back to the first episode. He finds a stormtrooper in there with him. He finds the end result of Jango's input into the Galactic Republic. No, that's not to say that a stormtrooper is necessarily a clone. It almost certainly isn't.
But it represents it. It represents it.
But it's part of that lineage.
Yes.
And Boba realizing that he is literally suffering in this hellish purgatory of, oh my God, like my father, my direct predecessor is a part of all of this. Like, I don't think they accidentally put a friggin' stormtrooper there. It's all a part of Boba recognizing the cycle of violence and hatred and destruction he's a part of. He is a changed man. We're seeing how far that change goes. Because by the time of The Mandalorian, again, his propensity to violence is still incredibly deep and profound. Like, he is excessive with the way he kills those stormtroopers. And he is excessive in some of the way that he kills people in this show. Like, there are people that he just straight up fires a wrist rocket at nearly point blank range.
Yeah.
Like, there's a level of overkill that he uses at some points in this show. Like, granted, it's not Black Chrysanthemum throwing someone up in the air and then shooting them 8 times before they hit the ground.
Yeah.
But he's still incredibly brutal. Like, he doesn't stop the Rancor from eating a Pike.
No.
Which is an incredibly, like, painful death for that Pike.
Yeah.
Think of every, like, laceration, biting, like, claw it feels before it dies. Boba Fett is still okay with brutal murder. That's part of what he needs to unlearn, or maybe he never unlearns that, and it's part of what makes him flawed.
Okay.
But he has grown significantly from the character we see in the original trilogy and by proxy Clone Wars and the inter-movie material.
Okay.
And he grows over the course of this show to accept his role as a leader. Troy, I respect your opinion. I can't say that I agree with you. I think he grows incredibly over the course of the show.
I think that I don't know that it's necessarily that he grows and he's moving towards the light so much as he's just trying to be as non-confrontational as possible. I think it's more of like a just he's tired kind of thing. Because there's so many times where he could have killed the guy. He could have, shot the male Twi'lek who is like the second in command to Mok Shaiz. What's his name?
Oh, Major Domo. I forget his name.
Major Domo. Yeah, like there are so many times where he could have killed him. I think especially like when he walks back from that show to the in the finale, the first interaction with Cad Bane where he finds out that his Tusken Raider family had actually been killed by the Pike, and the dude walks up. He was like, "Excellent restraint, excellent," and that's what it is. It's just he restrains himself now, and I don't know that
expecting that Major Domo to get gunned down.
I was just waiting for him to just get for Boba Fett to just turn and just shoot him in the head and be done with it. And there's so many times that he's showing restraint, but I don't know that it's because I don't know that it's out of catharsis so much as he is just tired.
I get that.
And I think that's just we're just looking at the character in different ways, and that's how art works. And I think that's what's beautiful about it. And just for me, it's just I just don't see outside of the Tusken Raiders being lost. I don't see him seeing any personal loss, and even when the Gamorreans die and everything looks like it, you just don't see anything out of him.
Okay.
And so I still think it was great. And like what I'm doing is I'm nitpicking is what I am.
Sure. Well, of course.
And I acknowledge from the first place.
I mean, that comes with the territory of doing anything.
You're in a box, and it's so very hard to make this work because of the nature of this character. Whereas when you had something like Din Djarin, you could go anywhere, and we were all cool with cool. I have no attachment to this.
Clean palette.
Take it where you want it.
That was something too that I know. There's an interview with Filoni and George Lucas, and he's like, the only thing George ever really taught me is like you have to instill hope, no matter what Star Wars story you tell. Hope is just the fundamental part of it, and obviously, maybe the hope for Boba Fett to become a better person. Is maybe part of it, or maybe not even part of that idea. But, we hope that this character would mean more to us once the season was over. And to me personally, I think he does. And I'd imagine for both of you the same way, the same exact idea there. He definitely means more to me now than he ever did. And, he honestly,
Absolutely.
he did some really badass stuff this season. But the one thing I will say, this show did something I didn't expect. The supporting characters were absolutely top tier. Like, really, really well done. Fennec Shan, she had an arc that I didn't expect her to have when she was like, when the Major Domo was there the first episode, he was like, when can I shoot him? She's like, yeah, don't do that. We just need to keep an eye on him. And then at the very end, she's so calm to let, Boba and Cad Bane almost have their shootout. She went from being, you'll have your moment, where she would have been the first one to shoot him, given the chance.
That's an interesting reversal. But then it's also situational as well. But that is a really cool reversal that you point out there.
That because it's true. She has held her restraint now. And then
she's been playing chess. She's been trying to play chess the entire time, and Boba has just tried to like stay put.
Well, then you see what she does at the very end. Because she was always a master assassin. We didn't need a character arc from her when we got one. And of course, at the very end, when she's strangling all of them and killing all of them, that was incredible. That was Godfather, like top tier mob murder. That was awesome.
Pardon me.
No, it's all good. This show did a lot of weird things too. And this kind of plays to the mob boss story where there were some things that felt significant, like the assassination attempt became a thing. And like, it was kind of like when Franz Ferdinand was killed, which started off World War I. It's like the same exact idea. It's like the assassination attempt led to the Pike War, which led to Mok Shaiz, which led to so many things falling into place for all this to happen. And it's kind of cool to see that in Star Wars, where things feel big. Order 66 was another moment we got this show, but we got it from a different perspective. And now we know that's a staple in every Jedi's, life, really. And like, you're doing these things now where, events matter. They talk about the sail barge being destroyed. I just never thought Star Wars would be so self-referential. We never gotten that. Like, I think they maybe mentioned the Death Star a handful of times in other shows, but that's about it. Like, there's no big moments of the fall of the Jedi or Boba Fett being assassinated. I love this. It's very different.
Quite frankly, and this is less to do with Book of Boba Fett and more to just a phenomenon with Star Wars stories that Order 66 is an integral part of galactic history. How do I put this?
Here we go.
With the way that Star Wars is meant to be a historical allegory for fascism and imperialism, the myriad genocides, ethnic cleansings, and atrocities in general, those are all flashpoints and focal points of the ugly history of imperialism and fascism in just human history. So the fact that anytime we've gotten a story from a Jedi who even a little bit obfuscated Order 66, the fact that you survived it, therefore we need to see how it affects you.
Yeah. Trauma.
Like, I don't like the criticism that we've seen Order 66 too many times. I don't think we can see Order 66 enough times. It's
like the Holocaust.
It's the crystal knocked 100%. It has become the focal
it's more crystal knocked than it is Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like, granted, like the number of casualties, but like just the visceral nature of it, especially when you look at the fact that, again, one of the core inspirations for the Galactic Empire is Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And again, like, part of the Galactic Empire is Cold War America. Part of it is like Bush era America.
Yeah.
Like, it's those three very different regimes.
What are you talking about? George Lucas totally had everything planned, and 90s and early 2000s American culture had nothing to do with the prequels. What are you talking about? He planned every single little thing out all the way in the 70s. It's Vietnam, and that's it.
That's it. No.
But yeah, again, like it changes as time goes on. Like, the Empire and what it means represents different things, and I don't think the Order 66 can ever be underrepresented because it means something different for every character. Order 66 for Cal Kestis is different than Order 66 for Grogu. Is different than Order 66 for Ahsoka Tano. Is different than Order 66 for Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
And son of a bitch, make Luke engage with the Purge. Like, I get he saved Anakin.
Yeah.
I want Luke to have to go, oh my God, what did he do?
Yeah. Make him realize that. But what's cool?
That's how you get the justification for the way he feels about Kylo in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to make him reconcile with, like, I loved my father because he was my father, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then when you then have to reconcile, my father was
awful.
Hitler's lead enforcer.
Yeah.
To keep using the history metaphors. When you have to then reconcile that, then you can have that fear. And then also, I think that you're going to see some inklings. I know, like, canonically, technically, Ben Solo's supposed to be his first student or whatever, but I think his failure with Grogu is going to end up being a thing as well.
Exactly.
That reinforces doubt as well.
I think that just in the name of, like, canon semantics, I think Ben Solo is his first fully trained student.
Yeah.
I think
Grogu was trained.
It all depends on your
Grogu
point of view.
Yeah.
I think Ben is his first student who makes it to the rank of knighthood.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan says that Yoda's his master, and it's because, like, why do I have to explain Qui-Gon to you? No, it's Yoda's my teacher. Ben was my first student. Like, semantics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I wanted to add to this because of Order 66, but this idea, I don't know if you'll both resonate with this, but Boba Fett was there for all of that. And it's not Boba Fett, but it's the face, it's the voice, They were all tied together
I've heard
because of
that
the
voice
clones.
1,000 times.
See, it's just like people are forgetting, like, obviously Boba Fett's his own character, but he's technically not.
Nick, I
He
agree
is
with you
his-
completely. Sorry.
He is his father, right? He is his father. He is also not only his father, but he is also the template for all these other people that have caused horrible crimes, not by their will, I say. But it's crazy to think not only was the Jedi there, but quote unquote, Boba Fett was there for all the Jedi purge as well. And they will all suffer the same fate. You know, obviously they age faster, but Boba Fett, he must feel some responsibility for this to a certain extent.
Well,
he has to.
Bib Fortuna never came looking for Boba Fett. If Bib Fortuna made it off of the sail barge, so could have Boba Fett.
Yep.
You know, like there's a disposability and a prejudice
Against
built
these clones.
into how people view these clones.
Yeah.
Well, do people know? Do people know that Boba Fett is a clone? Outside of like
They
the
know he's
bounty hunters
Django's
that knew him.
kid. The fact that he looks exactly like Django can't be escaping anyone.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like there's a family
Yeah, because
resemblance, and then
he's
there's
allowed to
you
remove
look
his helmet.
exactly like your father.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's like the dispensability and like the prejudice, and like if you want to get on some Dune shit for a second, like this is where that whole idea of like the oppressed becomes the oppressor.
Yep.
Foucault's boomerang, the tactics you employ against an oppressed group of people will eventually weaponize those same tactics against you.
Yeah.
We're like all of those things are at play here.
Yeah.
And, again, like it goes to the extended tragedy that happens in this galaxy that is brought on by this galactic form of fascism that is Palpatine's, that is inevitably rebuked by the time of the sequel trilogy in myriad ways. But it's those little ways that everybody is victimized and in turn becomes a victim of, just the overarching hatred of the dark side.
Yeah.
Whether or not you can touch the Force, you're affected by it.
Yeah. What were you laughing at, Troy? You had a realization, or maybe you just thought something funny?
That the sequel trilogy rejected in a myriad of ways. That's all I was laughing at. Don't worry about it, though. It's not what we're here for. I love The Last Jedi. I really do.
No.
genuinely
The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm saying that like Palpatine's mode of hatred is rejected by its heroes of the sequel
I see that.
trilogy.
I see what you're
I
saying
meant.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
That's less laughable, but more agreeable.
So
yeah, I realized I phrased that poorly and I spoke way too
That's
quickly
fine.
through
It's
that
fine.
second.
Hey, man, it's a podcast. You're not supposed to take the things people say for, prepared statements and writing.
Yeah, I get that too. Because I want to tie into one thing real quick because we're going to end this probably the next 10 minutes. I want to say one thing. Obviously, we've had a very deep discussion on a lot of this stuff. One thing I think that's very important is the moments that happened to this episode, and obviously Grogu's moment, which I guess we didn't expect. And I want to talk to you about this. Does Grogu's return undermine season 2 of Mando and RTL? Does it? Because I don't know how I feel about it. I need to sit on it some more. I mean that.
I do too. And I need to see season 3 before I make a judgment call on it.
Sure.
That was the number one thing I said, Scotty, when you were on KNR last week.
I remember. Yes, literally. I was going to talk to you about that.
I really don't want to see Grogu immediately become a part of the narrative again. Again, I don't know if Taylor's still watching, but in preparation for Book of Boba Fett, because Boba Fett's her favorite character, and she never finished season 2 of Mando, we were watching it.
Yeah.
And we get to the rescue, and we get to Luke walking onto the command bridge of that Star Destroyer, and we get Din and Grogu's goodbye, and she's sitting like behind me at an angle, and I'm taking off my headphones to adequately demonstrate this. All she sees is me from behind just going,
that's
like literally starting to like heave because I'm crying so hard.
Yeah.
And I turn around and there she is. And I'm literally like, I turn around and I'm just like,
it's a brutal moment.
Because it breaks my heart to see them part ways. And every time I've seen Grogu, she can testify, I have broken down in tears. Like I can't not uncontrollably weep when I see these two on screen together.
Exactly.
And part of me is a little pissed off that they've been reunited already.
I get that.
Now, like I said on Knights of the Nerd Republic, they can do it in a way that satisfies me. You know, I am not the arbiter of what does and doesn't work in this universe.
Yep.
I can be proven wrong. I'm willing to be proven wrong. It was incredibly adorable. I started sobbing when I watched it last night.
100%. Boom! And he does a force jump too. He literally
force jumps into his arms, and I was,
he was like,
immediately.
Buddy. Oh my God.
I'm willing to be proven wrong, but this wouldn't have been my decision to do it this quickly.
Yeah. Troy, what's your take?
So let's pretend that the Book of Boba Fett as a show does not exist.
Okay.
And Return of the Mandalorian is episode 1 of season 3. And we've waited, like we physically have waited longer to see that reuniting. But like that season episodes 5 and 6 of Boba Fett are episodes 1 and 2 of season 3.
Of Fantasy 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And you've waited you have, as a human, have waited longer for that reuniting. But in terms of the story, it doesn't change. Would that make you feel differently?
No.
It wouldn't.
No.
You would still feel like,
No.
hey, this is a little too soon?
I would have wanted
I want to see
because I think
Din
that
live
actually
without
would
his
change
son
it for a
little
lot
longer.
of people.
Yeah.
I think that's fair too, but I think for a lot of people, if we had waited until
years.
December and had no knowledge, and Book of Boba Fett had not been Mando season 2.5, and episode 1 had been like the return of and all of that, and it's like, oh, he's gonna go do the thing. He's got to go to like these sacred pools on Mandalore, and the Purge, and all that lore we got in that episode. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
And then you get Grogu in episode 2, and then they reunite, not necessarily with Boba Fett, but just they reunite in episode 3. Would people like it in December that was happening? I think a lot of people would feel very differently because we as humans would have had more time waiting and anticipating than we actually did in real life. I think that would make people feel a lot differently. I do think that I think it shows a lack of trust that The Mandalorian as a show can work without Grogu. Or at least maybe a lack
He is a person couldn't work without Grogu. That's the problem. Like not
I think it's
but as an emotional person, he went back to his old ways and it was not good for him. He went back to the Mandalorian creed, not good for him. Everything he's trying to do,
Grogu's absence is felt. And I think there's a difference between like the show post Grogu, like it's important that it is post Grogu. Like what we're realizing is Mando without something beyond his cultic creed.
Yeah.
Going along to get along. He's clearly motivated by not having his son anymore.
That's
and
true. Well, he
having
goes right
him
back
deal
to
with
the
that for
cultic
at least a
creed.
half a season would have been something.
Well, it goes right back to the cultic creed. Which is interesting in its own way, and it's ultimately because like everything about Grogu was
his mission.
Ultimately, in theory, and he learns to love him regardless, and that's part of the beauty of the show, obviously. But it was fulfilling a mission, and then he goes, what does he go? He goes right back to his family, because that is his family in the same way that Grogu was. These people are the people who took him in. And he yearns for that in a very, very real way throughout seasons 1 and 2, particularly in season 2. Particularly after the finale of season 1, where he watches it all fall apart.
Yeah.
And I think that it betrays not necessarily, and I can't pretend to know that what Jon Favreau thinks and what he's doing, and and I don't know exactly how much he and Dave work together in terms of the writing and all that kind of stuff. I know that they're involved and they talk. I don't pretend to know the inner workings of that. I know it works. That's all
I'm
I
going
need
to be
know.
listening. I'm running to the bathroom real quick. I will be
Okay,
listening.
I know that it works. I think that they're going to. I think that the way they tell that story is absolutely going to work for me because they've given me no reason not to believe in them.
Oh, I agree.
Particularly when it comes to Din and his
Yeah.
character development and Grogu and his character development. I am fascinated to see where this goes because you're going to have this perpetual. I think Grogu is going to just become this perpetual tear. You were seeing a tear. With the introduction of Bo-Katan, you see a tear in what he holds dear with the foundlings when he realizes that he's a foundling of Death Watch and that's what he knows to be what it means to be a Mandalorian is now two different things at least. And then his new fatherhood with Din becomes now it's two different things to be a Mandalorian because I am responsible for him, but I need to get back to Death Watch. I need to get back to my family, but I've become a father to him the same way that people took me in. I just had nowhere to be brought back to, but he does. And so now you're really ripping at the seams of everything that is his identity, and you are making him face himself to use a bit of a pun. You're making him pull the helmet off and decide who he is. And I think that that's going to be fascinating. And I think
that's what Grogu does for him.
And I think that Grogu accelerates that. And I think you have to accelerate that because you're building to so many things in these shows. Because as you and I have talked, I firmly believe that they are going to do some sort of Heir to the Empire-esque crossover event amongst Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Mando, and those shows, all our new shows, and Rangers, which I heard a theory that Cobb Vanth is going to be like
that'd be brilliant.
Is going to slide into that role.
That'd be brilliant.
Which would be really interesting. But then I also think that going back to that whole Tatooine matters. I honestly would love to see Boba Fett and Fennec in that role because I think that I think that Boba Fett knows that he doesn't want this.
No, and I think that's the last dialogue of this episode kind of proves that. He was like, "This is not for me." He just realized,
right? That's a part of where it's like he spends his entire time talking about respect and talking about all these and building these things, and I want to lead and everything. And as soon as he has it, he says, "Meh." And I think that that's fascinating. I think that that's a fascinating place to leave a character. Because again, it's okay. Where are you going to go with this? This whole thing has just kind of been an experiment for him. And I won't say that cheapens the show, but it just makes the whole show just feels like a stepping stone. And stepping stones are important in an overall narrative. But it's a stepping stone for Mandalorian. And it's also a stepping stone for him. We have yet to see where he really is going. He has stayed very firmly planted. The character development we see is him with the Tusken Raiders, and I don't think post what we see from Tusken Raiders to end of the show he has changed very much. But I think that other than realizing once he's won, he's lost his new family. He's gained a new one, and he decides this isn't what I want. Where am I even going from here?
That's an interesting line at the very end.
I think that this whole thing is just a stepping stone. And where they take that stepping stone, it's a stepping stone for Mando, it's a stepping stone for Grogu, it's a stepping stone for Boba and Fennec, and where they go from there is very fascinating.
But that's what I was going to say. The ending obviously alludes to Cobb Vanth taking over the role. If not taking over it, definitely stepping in.
And so is he going to become like the non-crime boss leader of Tatooine, or is he maybe going to become a marshal in terms? Is he going to become integrated with like join the New Republic to round up and really purge the outer rim of scum and villainy? I think Timothy Olyphant is great that role, and I think that he absolutely has what it takes to lead a show. And so where they go with him is fascinating. I think Boba Fett becomes I think Boba Fett would slide into that role too, of like the uneasy hero, of like I don't actually want to work for the Republic. I don't want these rules and order and things, but I will because I'm good at this. And I know that I'm good at this, and I know what I have to do. I think that is a very good direction to take the character. And there's a million directions you could take. We are at. I feel like we are exactly where we started with Boba, other than the we got backstory that led him up to, because all of the Sand People stuff is before
chapter what was it, 14 of the Mandalorian?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. We've even said it earlier, but now all of a sudden
the tragedy.
One where he absolutely goes the tragedy. We've gotten that point. And I think that was all very good to show us this is where he is and this is why he fixated with honor.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't moved from that point. Other than he's gotten some issues out with Cad Bane. Where he goes from here is fascinating.
I agree. What do you think of that, Jared?
I think he's developed by his responsibility. I think that now seeing him as the daimyo of Mos Espa, that he has to grow to learn to understand what it means to be a leader. He's never been a leader. He's been me, myself, and I, and me, myself, and my paycheck for him.
Yeah,
for almost his entire life. He's not one that's meant to follow someone when he was under Jango and Aurra Sing and Cad Bane and Bosk's tutelage. And he knows what it's meant to look out for yourself and yourself only. And it is the personification of his past life in Cad Bane that he literally vanquishes.
Yeah.
So I think that what we've seen is we've seen how we arrived at the Boba Fett we meet in The Mandalorian, immediately followed by the Boba Fett that is forged in the fire of trying to be a leader, and how difficult it is to go from an enforcer who is a part of an already broken and hateful, violent system to a leader who's trying to change it from the top, and how that affects somebody, especially while your very beginnings of power ushering in an entire war. So I think that Boba has grown to understand and appreciate the power that he holds. And I don't think he's going to relinquish it anytime soon. I think that line of dialogue between him and Fennec while they're like throwing the fruit to Chrysanthemum is him acknowledging, like, wow, I am a fish out of water.
Made it.
That doesn't matter. I'm here and I'm going to make this count.
Interesting.
I absolutely think that's where it's going.
He could rule it with Cobb Vanth too, and it would be sick. It would just be really
That'd be great.
Sick. Yeah. That'd be awesome. They don't know how well they work together, but I mean, he must have some respect for him to let him use the back to tank, because that's what happens, right? Chrysanthemum was going to use the back to tank. The Gamorrean guards use the back to tank. The back to tank is his space. It's like his safe space. That's where he goes to reflect. And that's where he goes to live.
It's sacred to him because it's healed him from his
scars.
first death. Yeah.
Yep.
His literal scars and his figurative ones as well.
Oh, this show overall, I think, was very good. Where does it rank on my live action set of shows? I think I like it more than season 1 of Mando at this point. But in terms of overall, this show did a really good job making me care for the character, but also it gave me some lore that obviously none of us expected to get. And we can all be transparent here. That sixth chapter was just one of the greatest Star Wars moments of all time. Like everything.
Oh, the Rancor, them back to back, like everything.
Oh, I'm talking.
That's why I said it was so. Oh,
sixth episode. Luke, the sixth episode. You know.
Oh, that was a landmark. That showed you can do. So long as Mark Hamill is alive,
and he says okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You have him in whatever capacity you want, and it's gonna look amazing.
This show just did a lot more than I thought it would, just like Mando season 2 did. And I'm glad it wasn't it didn't feel like a character of the week episode, kind of like Mando season 2 was. Because you were like Frog Lady, then you got Bo-Katan, and then chapter 4 came around, you got whoever else. It just felt like that last season was like, here's this, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, which I wasn't unhappy with. But this show kind of felt really connected in that way. So I'm eager to see where season 3 takes us of Mando, and they're filming it right now, so it'll be around the corner before we know it. And I'm happy we can talk about this. I love this.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
a lot of fun.
This is awesome. Before we close out, I guess Jerry requests play the Mayo clip. Here we go.
Okay. And how do you feel about that? Okay.
You're on sabbatical, honey. You can't be in the chat. Frankly, I don't even know what the word sabbatical means. I've just been saying it every time Jerry shows up. Does it mean vacation? I have no idea.
Yeah, but like a year-long vacation, minimum.
Jerry's on sabbatical.
That's one special trick you have. That sense of yours.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
Jerry would have been a great Green Goblin.
Year-long break, yes. He probably would have. We're gonna talk about
Jerry
that
can have Green Goblin. I just want to play Doc Ock.
Oh man. Well, fellas, I know Troy has something to plug, but I'm happy you were here, Troy. You have anything you want to end with? Don't say stay Bombad just yet.
I wasn't going to. I wouldn't take that away from you. No, I have nothing to plug. I believe that social media is actually rotting our minds in a lot of fundamental ways. I'm not saying it's only evil, but it has its virtues, but its vices are very, very tall. All I have to plug is keep watching Star Wars and be nice to each other. And it's great to be a nerd. The nerds have won. We're at a time where things like Boba, even if we're going to nitpick about where Boba Fett's going as a character, we're getting a show that is just amazing and fun. And all of these sorts and we're getting Star Wars as art to legitimately discuss and enjoy. The nerds have won. Be happy, go out there and make the world a better place and keep moving forward because more Star Wars is coming.
Yep, May 25th. That's going to be a late night for us. That's going to be a late... Dude, I'm flying to Celebration at 5 a.m. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll have to do a 24-hour. I just have to. Like, I can't... Literally, it's going to be unbelievable. But,
y'all are being dramatic. Watch it on the goddamn plane.
How am I going to watch that on the... I'm going to be like... like screaming on the plane.
They're scream on the plane.
You've got to get off, sir. My fiance's gonna be punching me in the arms. I'm gonna be like choking Eric. Like, I can't wait. But
and not if Eric doesn't choke you first.
That's right. Hey,
hot.
Jarod, plug your stuff, buddy.
I'm drunk. You guys can find me on the.
There's Connor. Sorry.
I'm waiting for Connor to go away. That scared me. You guys can find me and Connor at the Nerd Academy Podcast.com or the Nerd Academy Podcast. We got the main show, Nerd Academy Podcast, which is like it's cape shit. It's superhero stuff, basically. Knights of the Nerd Republic, that but Star Wars. Movie Club is back. Movie Club, while y'all are watching or listening to this, will be out Friday the 11th with our part 1 of our Black History Month coverage we're doing Jordan Peele's Get Out. Number 1 contender or Movie Trivia Schmodown podcast. Yeah, come watch it. We do nerd stuff and we cover things and review stuff. And sometimes I think I sound smart. Other times I do not. But sometimes I do.
Well, you're one of the best at it, and I'm thankful to have you as a friend, dude, as always.
I'm thankful to have you. Troy is also very smart and handsome. So
I appreciate that.
I can tell you this much. This is all I have to plug right here.
Oh, God, I thought you were about to...
Is this supposed to be a still, or is this going to come out at me at some point?
No, this is just a still. We just don't need to stay quiet.
I was waiting for it to start moving.
We just need to stay quiet and appreciate this. And hopefully he's in the chat. I don't know if he is. Wow, bro, actually shows up late. Dang it, fellas. I'm glad to have you here, though. I love you guys. So let's just take a second. And then one more second.
In the arms of the angels.
And then
Those
you know what I
fucking
think?
Tigers.
You know what I really think is going to happen here? And I
What?
actually mean this. They're going to make the Jedi Prince novels canon, and Cobb Vanth's going to change Jabba's Palace to a retirement community. That's actually in those novels. Could you imagine if he's like, yeah, I turned it into an old folks home, and it's like old Ithorians and old Rhodians are like wheelchairing around? How
Well, it's because
incredible! would this
it's a
be?
metaphor for Star Wars in general. Star Wars is dying, and it's where it all goes home. Except that it's
Oh.
not dying. It's beautiful and it's real, and that's why it won't be canon.
That's right. I hope it becomes canon. I hope Michael gets that win. Cobb's like, yeah, we got a retirement community hall, and they literally just show this right here.
No, because that's literally what the bar looks like during the daytime for me. and I'd hate
Oh,
that.
they wheel you in.
Sounds
Just
like
a
going
bunch
to
of-
the bar is good for no one.
Just a bunch of geriatric racist idiots.
Well, Troy, I think you should do the honors of sending us out with the phrase that has, of course, made us famous.
All right, guys and gals and non-binary pals, as you go to bed tonight and you grab your Jar Jar Binks stuffed animal and you curl up and you're drifting off to bed, I want you to sit with two words as you lull to sleep, and those are to stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top,
And a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. And that's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer.
If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long. See you in a little bit.
I beat Jarod in trivia, and I'll be forever thankful that this happened. And I'm gonna give him a moment just to sit there and just take some that it's still being broadcast. We've got about 7 people watching us right now, but it's still being broadcast, and I beat him. And then he'll have to know that for a while. He will have to go to bed after a long day of dealing with racist old people. And he'll have to let me just give an example of it. Hey Google, turn off the office lights. He'll have to go to sleep in his sweet, sweet slumbering state. Taylor possibly next to him. I don't know they're living. I don't know what it's like living together with Jarod, but sleeping. And in the middle of the night, He's awoken by a noise. And that noise may just be his anxious brain flowing, but it also could be me. And I'm just happy to know that no matter what, I will be in his mind forever. Here I am, Jarod. You lost to me. You lost to me. You lost to me.